I want to welcome everyone here. It's good to see y'all. And there'll be a few more people that will be dropping in, and we'll work with them. We'll, have a good time. And I'll answer any questions that I can. First, I want to mention that for Phoenix, anyone in Phoenix, I'm literally booked. I'm doing the apprentice training for the 3 days, but and also equivalent 2 days of appointments, but it's all booked up. And so I will be back in February from the 8th to 12th. And you can contact Sue or I if anyone wants an appointment there. And, oh, Grasso, yay.
Christina.
Yay, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Christina. All right. Hi, Christina.
Hi, Mark.
Hi.
How are you?
Sitting in a corner of an empty room.
Okay.
No.
How's sunny Colorado?
It's sunny. It's
Oh,
sunny.
I'm jealous.
We had a
Me
cloud
too.
yesterday.
Uh-oh.
So in January, I'll be back. I'll be going to Dallas from the 25th, 29th. And then on February 5th, we're having another online healing circle. And then on the 14th, the 14th of February, the 26th, the 21st, and the 28th will be the advanced online healing workshop, if anyone is interested in that. It's for people who have taken any of my classes. And if you haven't, you can't do it until I offer one again, first series. And it's for 3 times, an hour and a half each time. And the cost is $92. And let's see what else on my list here. I'll be available for phone appointments at almost any time, and except when I'm doing something else. And I'll be available for appointments in the Boulder area. I live in a town called Longmont, which is right near Boulder. All right, and let's see. Again, either Sue or I, for anything for Arizona, contact Sue, and her name's all over the place on the newsletter and whatever, and me. My number is the 888 number, and Sue's, I think, is 480. So, any questions, any comments about anything that we can try to answer or boogie with? Please. We can talk about my haircut I just got today.
It looks nice, Mark.
A little too short. A little chop job. I wanted to look like I was from Colorado. So
Oh, see? You have to fit in.
know that I'm out of town. So, hey, Steve.
Hey, what? You don't like Chicago anymore? What's going on?
Hey, I'm out of there. I know.
It's not the same anymore. You understand that, right?
No, now you're going to start to get sunny skies.
Oh, well, we had some today.
That's awesome.
You don't even care. You're in Colorado. What do you care?
I don't care at all.
I know. I could tell.
But I ask my blessings on y'all. And
We'll take it.
by God. All right.
We already Googled. It takes 14 hours for us to get to you, so we may take a drive up.
That's okay. That's okay. It takes 14 hours too. 2
Yeah.
days. All right. So, any questions that I can try to answer pertaining to healing or my perspective of God or the angelics, anything? I'll try everything I can to conjure up, the truth as I know it. So, please, anything.
I did see a post, Mark, on Facebook. You posted something about asking the angelics for help like now is the time kind of a comment. So it was just nice to see that. And I don't know if you want to expand on that. I would be curious to know what else.
That's one way. That's a way. It could be a major way, depending upon our identification or our point of reference. How we can commune with God is through going through the angelics, and they're available to us. You know, they love to communicate with us. They're there for that. They don't love it in an excitement like we have emotion. That's their job, and basically to assist us in every nature. And there's various realms of angelics, and they all serve purposes. Like Gabriel, it has it's like a realm of power, and it's a consciousness. It's not one person, Gabriel. None of the archangels are just one person. They're consciousness, and it's power, it's calling. It represents many, many dynamics, consciousness, and you can call on it. And I remember one time, I'll give you a story about this. There was, I was living in the Boston order house at the time, and my mom called me and says, "You got to get home really quick to Chicago." I said, "What's wrong?" And she says, "Your dad is in the hospital. He's not doing well. And there's things wrong with him." She didn't know how to explain what was wrong with him, but he has, you know, IV tubes and all this other stuff, and he's very, very sick. And so I said, "All right, let me think about this." And so that night, I was like kneeling before this little altar there, and I say, "Okay, God," and all of a sudden it came to me, well, why don't I go through Gabriel, the one with the calling? And so I found myself, I was so deep in that, in the prayer of asking for my father to be well, that I found myself shooting out of my body and shooting. It took maybe about 3 seconds. I shot from my body, and I went into, I didn't know where the hospital was or anything else. And I shot into, like, through the window and into my father's body, and he went, "Oh," like that, and sat up.
Oh my God.
And then as soon as that happened, something transpired in him in literally the twinkling of an eye, and I shot back into me, and I went, "Whoa, what happened?" It was the next morning my mother called and said, no, I called my mother and said, "Well, how's Dad?" You know, I was figuring, do I need to come home?
Yeah.
And to Chicago, and she said, "No, something happened to him last night, and he's fine, you know, nothing more." So Gabriel carries a consciousness of power, and also some healing as well, and calling. And so we have the opportunity to utilize that as a tool, the archangels. And they have throngs and throngs and throngs of angelics that are under their realm, each realm.
Okay.
Just like there's nature spirits, there's one for every blade of grass in this universe, in our world. There's lots, you know, just lots, legions of angels of various types. Some are very ugly. If we should ever see it, we may be afraid of it, but at the same time, they're good. They're very, very good. And, you know, it may be ugly to our sight and our identification. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. Oftentimes when we're younger, we see ugly forms and we get fearful of things. And when in reality, there's no fear that's necessary. As long as, say, visitations or listening or whatever, we know to say, once we've had an experience, okay, I see you or something, and saying, and you can say, stand in the light of the Christos, the sun. Then, if it's not real, it can't be there. It's just not possible. Nothing to be afraid of. And if it is, it'll become a great truth. Many, many times I've had these experiences, and I know this is true. And just say, stand in the light of the Christos, the sun. And if it's real, it will. And if it's not, it won't. It can't, it's not possible. As long as you're coming from that place within yourself, where you are meaning it. That's all that matters. Mary, did you have a question? I can't hear you. Can't hear.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted there. Yes, I do have a follow-up question. You talked about, the form, and are there really forms, or is it all illusion? And I'm doing the Course in Miracles, and of course, everything, the idea is that it's a dream, and we're all trying. It's form, content, and illusion. And you talked about that what we call the angels actually just represent consciousness, some aspect of consciousness. So is all of the forms that we see as ourselves, we see each other as forms, we're seeing the angels, or we're envisioning the angels as form, is that just literally not true? It's all illusion, and it truly is just aspects of divine consciousness?
Well, it is aspects of the divine consciousness, except that we distort it. We don't see the truth of that, the true form of things. And we carry a light body within us, which is our first body, and the physical body forms around that. And it's more perfect than we develop it on Earth. We develop it according to our situations, our living. And and if we were brought up a different way, we would have a different facial expression as well, and we'd have just all kinds of dynamics happening to us biologically, neurologically, if we chose to live that way we were born from. But we interact with Earth, and so this is real for here, and according to our dynamics of development. And so this is not a delusion or illusion. Sure, there is another aspect where you can say it is an illusion. All these things aren't real. Say like, oh, we can see electrical fields all around, and that's the reality of it. But it's coming from something of Earth. And a lot of people say, oh, I see the fields all around, none of this other stuff is real. There's a truth to both sides, and yeah. I pretty much don't listen to people that say, oh, it's only one way. And it's not, there's many things that we're interacting with in our lives, and they have a reality to them. And if we're clear, we're coming from a truthful place. And that's all that really matters. And we have an opportunity to ask for guidance and direction and protection. And we have an opportunity to ask for our own healing and for healing for others as well. And my place is just to tell people that they can, really.
And I like your where you said we are a light body. And I really believe that as I'm tuning into that, I told you how the healing happened so fast, over the Christmas holiday. And I really worked with that idea of my true essence is that light body, and that light body is never sick. And I just brought that into me.
That's perfect. No one can screw that up. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to heal your mind, your body, and your spirit. How can you heal the spirit when that belongs to God? And, And we can't mess that up. We can't. It's not possible. Yeah. We can't change the laws of nature either on this earth, as well as the spiritual laws. We can't change those.
Unfortunately, the world as we tend to know it or see it, that's not what we're normally taught. And people believe, and again, that to me, that's the illusion, that people believe that the physical body gets sick and dies, and that's who we are. And really in shifting out of that into the mindset of being the light body.
Yes, and as we believe, so it is. And we can choose to live anything we want and create a pattern of construction or destruction. And so it's really an open-ended dynamic, you know. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be able to do this always, but for the past many years, since I became conscious of getting colds and flus and this and that, what I've learned to do, not saying it won't happen in the future, but right up till now, when I sense something happening to me, I say, "Whoa, wait a second," to this, whatever it is. And I say, "Take a hike. I don't have time for you." And I kind of step aside, knowing that I left it there, or I watch it saying, "Damn, getting out of me." And then I go on. And the memory of that distress is going to try to come back to me to remind me that it's there or that I have it, but I catch it. I say, "Hey, you know, take a hike." And then I go on. And I notice that later I don't have it. That's what I do at a time, you know. Or if something's, I find something to be incorrect, an injury or something like that. If it's injurious enough, then I'll do the same thing to that. What I do is I transpose it from destructive to constructive. What would it be like? What is it like? What could it be like if it wasn't? Capiche?
Makes sense. Thank you.
Makes sense, Christine?
It does. I still struggle with it though, but I do try to. I did recently catch a head cold. I felt it coming on, and I did the same thing. I said, "I don't have time for you." I actually pictured you doing a healing on me.
Good.
And it hasn't lasted as long, and it hasn't been as,
You can do
it
that.
didn't hit me as hard.
Many people do that.
Mm-hmm.
Many people call on me for many years now. They call on me, and I am there somehow, some way. I'm there, and I'm fine with that. I don't mind at all. Many people.
Thank you for doing that, Mark.
Yes, thank you.
My honor, my pleasure. Yeah, and whether they're going through something of a scary nature in their life, or an emotional nature, or a physical, or you know, any kind of dynamic, I'm fine. I'm fine. And sometimes I'll even find myself in those places there, and I know something has happened, and then with that particular person, whoever it might be, and then if I won't say anything, then not years, but days later, I'll get a call from them, or an email from them, and you know, I know it's true, and I don't need to say anything, you know, and it's fine. You don't need my permission. Many people over the many years. So, yeah, please utilize me.
And another question, And utilizing you and doing this spiritual growth that we're obviously all developing, working with our light body. Is that also how we can reach out to family members or friends or long distance to just see their light body and see it as in the perfection it is? Is that a good way to do that?
If you see them in a destructive mode, yes. Otherwise, it's almost like laying a trip on them, in my perspective. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I don't know what you mean by laying a trip on them if I'm seeing them in their perfection of their light body.
It's fooling yourself and giving someone else energy. Energy for what? And light for what? Is that what they need in their life?
Oh, okay.
Unless they're going through something destructive in their life, physically or emotionally.
Okay.
Then,
does that mean that they need? Well, let me think about how I want to phrase that. Because I don't, obviously, if somebody says, "Oh, I'm not feeling well," or "I'm going to have surgery," or I know that they're going through something, I usually like to take them into prayer and surround them with the energy.
oh, good.
Okay.
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
But that's not laying a trip on them in that sense of what you meant.
And if it's for the purpose, I misunderstood what you were asking. If it's for the purpose of doing something with someone who doesn't need anything necessarily, who's fine in their life, who's on their path in life, whatever it is.
No. Okay.
And so, yeah, it's always, there's no bad or wrong in doing good. None. Whether a person knows it or not, it's not bad to do good. And we're not going to get condemned by God from that stuff.
So is the healing that the technique that you use, is it the same? Is it all the same, whether it's Reiki or healing touch or whatever you want to call your type of healing? Is it all the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone has different identifications, so they need signs and symbols or flowers or this or that or whatever. It's all the same. And I just, the way I learned it, it was really simple. And it was by the old man or old woman upstairs, and I say, fine. And I saw that, it works. Okay. And I didn't believe in anything, And I saw that God represents itself in that way, that it wants to share with me. I said, fine. I'm open. I'm game. And I've been doing it since. It doesn't care if I have a distorted sense of humor or if I, whatever, It doesn't care. Not at all. Good questions. Christina, how you doing physically?
Feeling better. Like I said, I had caught this head cold, so it's just running its course. It started on Thursday, so I'm already on the mend, which, sometimes it's lasted a week or two, so just needs a little bit extra light.
Yeah. All right. What I'd like you to do is just sit back and close your eyes. And where you might feel a sense of pressure, boy, did my hands turn red. Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
Watch out.
I know.
All right. So where you might feel that head cold, almost as an identification of pressure inside your head, what I want you to do is watch it kind of scurry away, run away. That pressure, like it's a mind. there. Did something just happen, Christina?
I feel a lot of cool wind around me, and I feel the pressure starting to break a little bit in my face.
Okay. All right. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Keep remembering that. Keep bringing the members of that back. That new sense. That new sense, and it'll remind the other to take a hike.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Ruth.
Hi.
Hi.
Could you work on the bottom of my foot?
Yeah, sure. The right one?
The right one, the top, the big toe, it's lasted. I've been able to wiggle it since I had the treatment with you. So
Yay.
amazing.
That's awesome.
It is.
It is
And
amazing.
then when you're done with me, I have one more request for someone else. So
I'm actually moving your heel and your toe at the same time, real slightly.
if you say so.
Okay. All right. And more of your heel. It's almost like I'm helping it to remember it can breathe.
Okay.
And where I felt it was mostly on your on the bottom of your heel bone, going towards the toe, about a half an inch in. That's where I felt it the most of disturbance, or log jam in there. So now, can you tell me if you notice any difference in there? If you notice it yet, please be candid.
Well, it's a little warmer and it's a little tingly.
Okay, let's see what that develops into, hon.
Okay. Thanks.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Mary, is there anything I can?
Can you work on my aunt?
Yeah, what's her name?
Her name is Ethel. And she's 88, and she called me yesterday. She has...
Does she have white hair?
She does, yeah. She's got some slight dementia. And she said, I'm going for tests at the hospital on Wednesday, and they're all cardiac tests. And then I'm scheduled for surgery, but she doesn't know what she's having surgery on, except it's probably the heart somehow. And my assumption it's a valve, because I don't know. I think if it was something like a bypass, then they would have had her in the hospital already. So, and she's in New Jersey.
Right.
So I may be making a quick trip out there.
Have you seen her lately?
I saw her in June for a
White
week.
smock with a little pattern on it?
Everything she's got is cutesy little patterns
Okay.
on it.
All right. All right. All right. I just saw her telling you, oh, they said that everything went really well.
Okay, surgery's been canceled, right? All right, thank you so much,
If
Mark.
she was really going to have surgery or not, I don't know, but
I'm pretty sure she is. I've been in touch with the social
she was
worker there.
telling you
So.
that, she told you that everything, told me that everything went really well.
Okay, good. Thanks.
My pleasure. And you'll get to talk to the doctors and hear everything that was really, done and said and everything.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, do that. Good. She's having, when is she having surgery?
Well, there's a good guess. I don't know. She couldn't tell me.
Oh,
But I think it might be on a Wednesday, maybe like next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. Or
and when are you
Who knows?
going?
I don't know yet. It depends. I've got some other travel scheduled, so it depends. So.
Yeah. I got a feeling you're going to be seeing her in the hospital.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
So, Lynn, anything, my friend?
For myself, no, not so much. Thank you though I kind of cheated and asked him to work on my son earlier. I didn't wait for the healing circle. Yeah.
If you see me squirming, it's because I'm sitting on the floor.
Must be getting very uncomfortable.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And, all right.
But yeah, my son's been going through a few things. Like he suffered a partially collapsed lung. And then today, of course, I had him help push my mother-in-law's car out of the snowbank. And I wasn't even thinking that he could hurt himself further. And then he just, all of a sudden, he was just clutching his chest and he was in so much pain. And I said, oh my goodness. So,
Yeah.
but so it didn't have anything to do with his lung. It was just it was bad enough though. He pulled a muscle and some tissue. So
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's my perception. Don't take my word for anything medical. I don't
No.
want to make any claims or anything.
But it's just his work is very active, physical.
Yeah.
And
This overdid it, sure. But I'm curious, have you talked with them since?
no, kind of. We text each other. I know it's so bad. It's like,
Yeah. If you can just, at some time, ask them if there's been a change or anything, and if it feels better or less, traumatic. That'd be awesome.
better yet, I'm getting him to come downstairs. He can take a break from his homework for a moment. Yeah. He's 17.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in his last year, so
Sure.
he's trying to do so well. And things like this happen, and it's like
Oh my God, yeah. Faux pas in life. It happens. Things go awry.
well, it's what's even worse is she got herself hung up on the snowbank. So he would have had to been Hercules to get that car off the snowbank.
I wish you guys, I wish you guys could be at the apprentice training in Chicago. Still got room for a couple. But I'm not in Chicago, in Phoenix.
I would love that. That would be so amazing. Yeah, he's not able to get away from school too much right now.
All right.
Yeah. I don't know if he got my message.
Any other questions in the meantime? Any questions or comments or anything? Please.
Mark, can I ask you to work my granddaughter, who's 14, and is a swimmer, got kicked in the head about a month ago and suffered a concussion. And it's been a month and she's not totally recovered yet from it. She has been to the concussion clinic, and today was her first day that she's able to go back to school, but she did suffer a headache by the time she got home. But can you just send her some healing energy?
Yeah. I love working on people who have head injuries or brain injuries and stuff like that. I really love that. They notice it either immediately or within, say, 24 or 48 hours.
That'd be great.
Notice changes.
Great.
And that's what I want to express it.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
I'll let you know.
Please, I'd appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you very
My
much.
pleasure. All right. Anything with your son there, Lynn?
He's coming right now.
Yay, good, good, good. Hi. Hi. What's your name?
Christian.
Okay, all right, great. This is really cool. You may or may not feel something happening, but it doesn't mean that nothing's happening. All right, so close your eyes for a moment, and I'm going to put my hands in my mind. I'm going to put my hands on your chest.
All right.
And tell me if you can sense or feel something funny happening inside. And just relax, yeah.
Kind of feel warmer.
Yeah. All right, now open up your eyes and move around a little bit real gently and tell me if you notice any difference in the way that you felt before compared to now, or
I guess I feel more relaxed.
inside your chest area.
Yeah.
Good. Does it hurt at all? Is it sore or uncomfortable?
Not really.
Take a deep breath.
Good. And if you go like this, maybe with your arms crossing like that, how does that feel?
Fine.
You're awesome.
All right.
Pleasure meeting you, Christian.
Yeah, it was good meeting you too.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome. He's awesome.
He is.
All
Due
right.
for a haircut. I was supposed to cut his hair like 3 days ago, and I haven't gotten around to it yet.
I wanted my long hair, but you know, God, instead of shaping it, you know, and give me a little bit, they cut globs off. God. All right. Any other questions or comments I can try to answer?
Mark, Steve has a request.
Sure.
Since I never, ever ask you for much, you're not going to believe it, but I got a sty in my eye. And I'm not trying to be funny.
Oh, I believe it.
So I don't know how it happened, if it's an eyelash that went haywire inside, or I might have been cutting some meat and some blood might have spurted up and got in my eye, because I know that happened a couple days ago. But right now, it's like really,
Swollen.
it's really swollen.
Why don't you sit down?
Yeah, also besides what I'm going to do, they also have stuff, that gets rid of, the styes,
Oh.
or the stuff. You just have to ask a pharmacist what's going to be good for that.
Did you know, is there anything that I could get just from Whole Foods that's there?
If they have someone who knows the various compounds, yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
I have an
but-
old Indian method.
I'll take whatever you got.
Yeah.
This is a method I use for any time, anything to do with the eye, because of the infection.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a very warm tea bag,
Okay.
it's damp, it's wet, like it's
Lipton tea or anything like that, yes.
it's black tea,
Okay.
Black tea.
a
that's all
black
I
tea
know.
bag, and put a very warm tea bag on your eye, put something over to catch the drips, and leave it for 20 minutes, and do that 2 to 3 times, and it should be gone before the 3rd day even it shows up.
Oh,
It
I've
draws
heard of
the
that. I
infection
remember
out.
years ago.
okay. No, I'll do that. I'd rather do something like that than go to talk to a pharmacist, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because I rarely take any drugs at all. So,
Yeah,
All
right.
right, so let me go ahead and work with you a little bit.
sure.
You got it.
Okay, I'll take it. And I'll try the tea bag thing.
Yeah, definitely
Take
do
it
that.
back up.
Black tea, just like Glenn was saying. I
Okay.
remember that many, many, many years ago, and I've seen where it had worked years ago too.
Oh, good. Perfect. I like doing things like that.
Yeah,
Can I ask you one more question?
sure.
Obviously, you know what's going on with my father, with the Alzheimer's.
Yes.
We're having a hard time getting through to him at all. He seems to be reliving all the things that he did many, many years ago. Like when he would argue with my mother, he keeps leaving the house. He hasn't necessarily left and gone outside yet, but I had a long discussion with him, and when I can keep him calm, he seems to be okay. But it's been 2 days and he cannot recognize my mother whatsoever. Is
Right.
is there anything that we can do to help? Is there?
Distracting.
I mean, I can't figure out any way to help either one of them, to be honest with you.
Pray for him. Pray for his soul. Pray for his soul that he just doesn't have discomfort in his life and finds peace, or the peace comes out.
And the
That's
same
my
thing
answer.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can do that. All right,
you got
I'll
it.
take that too.
Don't stop loving him regardless.
No, I'm more worried about my mother having that issue. I'm fine. I'm fine with everything. So,
Pray for her too, that she has peace.
okay,
with
I
everything
will.
that's happening.
Okay, thank you. I will.
My pleasure, Steve. My pleasure.
Makes sense.
Any other questions or comments or anything I can try to answer? Anything, Mary?
What you just said about, letting the peace come out, whenever there is a need for emotional healing, is that always kind of an overall good process to take?
Yeah, and helping, if you have the opportunity, helping the other person know that that's the origin. Everything else is just, mass mind stuff that's not even necessarily real. The origin is the peace. And it's everything else is just learned. Their patterns and stuff like that. Okay. All right. I'm honored that there were 6 of us tonight. 2 others weren't able to make it, but that's great. And please come back again in February. Now, from now on, it'll be my time, 6:30, which will be different. I'm in Colorado, Mountain Time. We have daylight time here too, which will change an hour sometime. But always look up Mountain Time and whatever it is, Colorado time, Boulder. And so the time schedule is screwy as far as that goes. It'll always be 6:30 my time.
I will make sure though that I will put all the different time zones. Like the main 3 times, the main 3 are Mountain, Central, and Eastern.
Yes.
So if I'm going to continue posting the 3 different times, and then that way folks will.
And if a person's from another country, they'll figure it out. And you know, they should be good at that. All right. All right, dear friends, it's been an honor. And anyone who wants an appointment with me, let me know. Either phone appointment or when I'm in town, whatever town they're in, let me know. And or Sue Cabas if I'm in Phoenix or whatever. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you, Mark.
I hope you get your furniture back soon.
Uh-oh.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye.